Boom, boom, this is Kenner, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Alright, so we're going to do a little Azur ship review today. We've got Bremerton, USS Bremerton. Now, Bremerton came out in a micro-layer medley event, which is a while back. She was the best ship out of that event. It came out, there was a few other ships in there. They had Casablanca was in there. There were several other ships. Let me see who was in there. We had Intrepid was in there. Reno was in there. Couple subs. We had Bluegill sub in there. Casablanca was in there as well. But in that event, Bremerton was the best ship. She's really a top tier ship. I have her in my main fleet because of that, and we'll explain a little bit why once we tackle her stats and her skills and whatnot. But first, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about her service in the military. So it's USS Bremerton. CA-130 was her call name. She's a heavy cruiser. She's named after a city in Washington State called Bremerton, which is really a lot of people question this, especially people who live in Washington State, because Bremerton is not it's sort of like a metropolitan city. It's not really the type of city that you would name, a ship after, but it is what it is. So, but she's a Baltimore class heavy cruiser. So, if you do not have Baltimore, then you need to have Bremerton, because the Baltimore class heavy cruisers are serious. They lay down some serious DPS, and they're vanguard ships. So they're not in the back line; they're on the front line, which is what makes them so. Which makes them so excellent, is to have that much damage coming from a vanguard ship. And it's really make your fleet much better. But Bremerton has that, but she also has something else, which when you get into her skills, which makes her even more of a must-have ship. Okay, so let's talk about. She was launched on the 2nd of July, 1944. So the war was over, or winding down at that point. So she didn't actually experience any type of battles within World War II. However, she did participate quite prominently in the Korean War. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So she joined the 7th Fleet during the Korean War on the 23rd of November 1951. And she blasted enemy lines at Wonsan, Kojo, Chongjin, and Changjeonhang in Korea. So she did that on the 13th of September in 1952 until she was relieved and returned to Long Beach. So she did fire her guns quite frequently, and again, that's what you want in the game. That's one of the reasons, because she has serious firepower. The Baltimore class guns are huge, so they're extremely powerful guns, and bombardment, and that's what they give you in the game. And Azur Lane, having her on the vanguard, she does out a ton of DPS, and you'll find out that you'll take down enemy fleets a lot faster with her in your lineup. Okay, so she turned back to Long Beach in 1952, and then she did overhaul, did some drills, exercises. She returned back again to the 7th Fleet, back into Korea, and her guns again were pounded enemy installations, troops, and railroads. So again, that's what they're using her for, and that's what the Baltimore class heavy cruisers do, is bombardment. That you just pop them off the shore, out of the range of ground guns, and just annihilate positions inland. She has excellent capability. She has 9 .55 caliber guns and 12 by 5 .38 caliber guns as well. So she can really do some serious damage. So she's a big ship, very big ship. So after after hitting troops and installations or railroads in Korea, she returned back to Long Beach. She didn't have any faces anymore in the Korean War. By the time she was done with overhaul, the war had finished. So after the war, she did serve as the flagship for Cruiser Division 1. So she was very prominent after the war. So, a flagship position for her service was excellent reward for participation in the Korean War, part of the 7th Fleet. Okay, and then she also on November 6, 1956, she left Long Beach to the Orient via Melbourne, Australia, to attend the 16th Olympiad. So she did have some, sort of that type of, glitzy type glamour that the Navy, because in the Navy they send out some of the nice ships, and just to project an image of United States naval power. So that was nice, going to the Olympiad. And then she also sailed to Japan. She visited Redondo Beach, Monterey, Victoria, British Columbia, Seattle, Pearl Harbor, Guam. So she was all over the states. She visited the Japanese ports of Yokosuka, Kobe, Beppu, Okinawa, Keelung, Formosa, Kaohsiung, Taiwan, Manila, and Longapo in the Philippines. So she, although she wasn't in the war, she did go to quite a few places. And then finally, she was decommissioned on July 29th, 1960. And she was a total of 11.5 years in service. And then she was stricken from the register on the 1st of 1973. And she was sold to Zidell Explorations Corp., Portland, Oregon. And so she'll be used as an exploration ship July 11th of July 1974. So she did a lot, and she did get some medals in the Korean War. She had the American Campaign Medal. And because she was right on the tail end of World War II, the ship did receive a Victory Medal, World War II Victory Medal as well. And then she got this Chinese Service Medal. I think she got the Chinese Service Medal twice for her service in the Korean War. And she got the Naval Occupation Medal because she was actually, we did have some occupation there in Korea. And then she got the Korean Service Medal, so 2 battle stars and the Korean Service Medal. So she did have an excellent service in the Korean War, and she got the United Nations Korea Medal as well. So she's a very decorated ship, and that goes to her power within the game. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at her in game. I've got her up right here. So she is an SR ship, and as you can see, she has an exceedingly high firepower. And that is extremely important. Having that on a DPS is excellent. Her firepower is a tad bit lower than Baltimore, but she can use HE shells, and she also has torpedo, which makes her extremely good. And her torpedo barrage is excellent. So, but yeah, above level stats, excellent firepower. And this right here is a stat we're going to talk about next: anti-air. And this is where Bremerton really shines, and this is why you want to have her in your fleet, especially if you do not have San Diego. I have San Diego and her in my main fleet, and I'm telling you, we evaporate aircraft. Okay, no aircraft make it to the back line if you have Bremerton and San Diego in your vanguard. But you have to have Bremerton in the center or the right position, and let me show you why. First, let's go over her skills. Okay. So when this ship fires its main guns, 30% chance to increase this ship's main gun damage 130% for 3 seconds, okay? So you see what you're getting here? 130% increase. This is why it's excellent to have her on the front line. She does so much damage, highest damage that you can get out of a Vanguard ship, and that's why she's very important, okay? And then with ship fires, its main guns, a 70% chance to fire a special HE barrage, so she uses explosive shells as well, which makes her damage even more. So that's one of the reasons. But here's one that's interesting. It's called One for the Team. Okay, now at the start of the battle, if this ship is in the frontmost position of your vanguard, okay, decreases this ship's damage by 20% for 30 seconds, okay? If it is not in this position, okay, then it increases the ship's anti-air by 25% until the end of the battle. Okay, so if you have the Vanguard in front of you, you need to put her in the center or to the rightmost position. Okay, and you will get that anti-air you'll get that anti-air buff. If you put her far, on the farthermost side on the left, as you're facing, the three ships in the vanguard, looking towards them, they're looking towards you. If you put her towards the far left, it'll decrease her damage by 20%, but she's a tanky ship because she's a heavy cruiser, so that's really not important. What's important is putting her in the center or to the far right, and you get a 25% increase on your anti-air. And that's why absolutely aircraft are evaporated. They never make it past the front line on my main fleet, and that's what you need for 12 and 13. So this is what gives her an edge over Baltimore, because Baltimore doesn't do this. Okay, she does this. This is a skill that's specific to her. So that's what you want. So she's tanky, and she does top tier DPS, and she's in your vanguard. Okay, so make sure you put her in the center and off to the right, and you'll be excellent with what she does. Okay, so you want her in the middle or right position to get her anti-air stats. Okay, and the fact that she can fire HE shells, that gives her another advantage. Bremerton doesn't do HE shells, but she does. Okay, so there's two reasons why you definitely want to have Bremerton in your main fleet, if at all possible. She's Baltimore class, and her firepower is just a little bit lower. It's a bit weaker than Baltimore's when you compare them to the skills, but because she can use HE shells, that offsets that. And then the fact that she offers this anti-air stat is just amazing. So yeah, she was in the micro-layer medley ship. So if you don't have Baltimore, I don't have Baltimore. So, I've been using Bremerton, the second best thing. Okay, she has excellent stats, 125% efficiency, and 140 efficiency on her anti-air. Again, you want her in anti-air. She's a torpedo ship, so I have the pure oxygen torpedo. And I put fire suppressor on her because she's in the vanguard. A lot of times ships in the vanguard suffer from burn. Well, this right here decreases burn damage by 20%. Okay, and the chance of catching fire by 30%. Okay, so that's an extremely piece, especially if you're going to use her in PvP, and I do use her in PvP along with San Diego to prevent. You've got the Nagato backline with Kaga and Akagi, and then you've got Enterprise in the backline a lot of times too. That's meta in PvP. So by having superb anti-air, you completely decrease the power and damage that those types of fleets that you go up against can do, and that's why I have her in there in my center and San Diego on my far right, so that I can get that fire. And it evaporates planes. Nothing gets into my backfield, into my backline when it comes to aircraft. So that's why I use it, and it works out really well. So limit breaking. So she gets main gun efficiency of 5, main gun efficiency of 10. Plus she gets a main gun base +1, and then all weapons efficiency of +5 on her final skill. So she's an excellent ship. And I'll show you as you've probably seen my main fleet. It's called this fleet right here, US Endgame. So as you can see, I have Bremerton in the center, and I have San Diego off to the right. Then I have Nushiro on the left. She's my tank. And then I've got Saratoga Centaur and Monarch in the back. So this is the game that I'm using. We've been through 11, story mode 11 with this, and was fine. But these two right here prevent any type of anti-air from taking doing damage to my backline. So none of these ships ever die from aircraft because these two make sure that the stats are a little bit higher. But I have my command cat. I'm using my can cat on another fleet right now for testing purposes. I'm going to do an actual video on the cats. Okay, so we can go over that a little bit more. They're not super important, but they do buff your stats just a bit. So you might want to. It's the daily quest is to train a cat, and so you might as well just do it and train them. But I'm going to have a video, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, Bremerton is definitely a ship that you want to have, especially if you don't have Baltimore. then Bremerton is going to just come out and say it. Bremerton's a must-have. You need to have a Baltimore class ship on your fleet, and the fact that she gives you this added anti-air protection just makes her a plus. And that's exactly why I've got her on my main fleet. With her in San Diego, you'll be able to go through 11, 12, 13 fine without any problem in the game. And that's where aircraft begin to really take a toll, and they will destroy your fleet. Just flat out evaporate, your backline very quickly if you don't have anti-air. Getting this much a tank like this with this much firepower, adding in an anti-air is just ridiculous in terms of what she can do, almost to the point of being OP. Okay, so she's definitely a ship that you want to have. She can even fire HE. There's nothing to not like about Bremerton. So, get her in there and use her up, and I am, and very, very good. So, thanks a lot for watching the video. Remember, put a like on the video if you like it, and also remember to subscribe to my channel. And once you have subscribed, you'll see a bell. If you click on that bell, you get notified each time I drop a video. So this is Kenrick coming at you from the corner with another Azur Lane ship review. Signing out.